90s Wrestling Podcast. Today, we've got a very special guest, one of the biggest stars from 90s WWE, and he is WWE Hall of Famer, the one and only Godfather. How you doing, Godfather?
Man, thanks for having me on. Doing great, man. I'm doing really good.
How's Vegas today? All good?
You know what? It's actually, I'm when we're done with this, I'm going to get out there. It's a pretty nice day today. It's actually a really beautiful day.
Awesome. It's pretty nice over here as well in England. Normally it's raining, but today it's starting to clear up now, so you can probably see me sweating a little bit.
Well, it's nighttime there, I think. Right?
We've still got daylight. We're in daylight savings now, so it's about 8:30. So starts getting dark about an hour's time. So making the most of the sunshine while we've got it.
Well, cool. Yeah, it's lunchtime here.
Awesome. So I suppose we'll jump straight into it. So joining WWE. So how did it come about? I know you've mentioned in previous interviews that you worked in a bar and Scott Norton and a few of the guys would come in. So how did it come about joining WWE?
Well, I was working in a bar and they were filming a movie. And the movie was called Over the Top. It was an arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone. And Scott Norton was in that movie. But, they, a bunch of the guys, there was a lot of extras in there, a lot of wrestlers in there that didn't have big names, but they were in that movie. Anyway, they kept talking to me about becoming a wrestler. And, I made a couple calls and next thing I know, I'm in a wrestling ring. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it.
Awesome. And joined WWE, so they gave you the Papa Shango gimmick because was it true that Vince McMahon said even though you got the body of a monster, you had too much of a baby face? Am I right?
Yeah. At the time, yes. And he's like, we got to do something with your face. So they decided that was cool what they did with it. But yeah, he said my face didn't match my body, so he covered it up with that. So that was cool.
Cool. How do you feel about the Papa Shango gimmick? Because I mean, you only had it for a year in WWE, but it's such a memorable character. I mean, so many fans loves the character. So, do you feel like you wasn't used at your full potential with this character, or do you feel like it had so much room left?
I don't try to look back and figure out what happened. This is what happened. They paid me so much, and they paid me to do it. I had a lot going on. It wasn't just their fault. I had a lot going on. And, I always had another job, and I always had the strip clubs here in Vegas. So I always had another means of making money. Yeah. So, I would come and go. But there's all type of things but like you said, it's memorable. People still remember it. So that's cool because it wasn't around long. And for people still to be talking about today, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I will ask, and funny enough, so I also review 90s WWE pay-per-views for the show, and we've just watched WrestleMania 8, and obviously you done the run-in in the main event between Sid and Hogan. Why was you late? Like, I don't know if you've brought this up on interviews, but I've never seen him, so because it was like he was like a minute to the ring late. So what happened?
They just gave me the cue late,
Right.
I mean, that's it. So I wasn't to go. I wasn't supposed to go till they told me to go. And when they told me to go, I did. Well, they gave it to me late. So plus it was, I don't know. I never even heard about that. It wasn't my fault. So, they never blamed me for that.
Such a long runway as well.
I don't remember, bro. It was so long ago. I know it was a long runway. I just remember I got the cue late. Or they went into something too early or something like that, I think I don't know. It wasn't my fault, so I was never blamed for it.
Cool. And during his time as well, so about a year later, Bret became champ and you started working with Bret on Saturday night's main event where you had a hell of a match. What was it like working with Bret?
Dude, that was cool. Good guy, great worker, taught me some stuff. Loved working with him. I wish I could have got to work with him some more. I think we did the first Saturday night main event. Me and him were the first one. But as Papa Shango, I love working with Bret. Good dude. I love to this day. Good guy.
Yeah. What's the difference in working with Bret compared to working with Shawn? Would you say?
Well, what do you mean different?
Like adjusting to their styles, and who would you say was, I suppose, more of a ring general?
Both great workers, both easy to work with, both know their craft. If I worked with both of them, especially at that time, I would let them call most of the match.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's got their own way of working. So Bret, Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, Shawn, Razor, it don't matter, man. Everybody works different. I don't. There's nothing difficult about working with Bret or Shawn. So
Yeah. And so the gimmick basically ended like in '93 for WWE. I know you was using it in USWA, but there was rumors, correct me if I'm wrong, Fat, they was actually going to bring you back as Papa Shango, and you was actually going to be behind Bob Backlund and the reason he was going crazy. Am I right?
I don't know anything about that.
All
That's the
right.
first time I've ever heard that, I think.
Right now, I read about it the other week, and I was like, "Really?" I thought, "Well, I'm interviewing Godfather. I'm gonna have to ask him." But yeah, apparently,
I was, you know what? Somebody might have brought it up a long time ago. I don't remember, but I never talked to New York. I never talked to the WWE about that angle. I was
right,
supposed to be back as Papa Shango, and at the last minute, they changed their mind. And when I mean last minute, I mean very last minute. When I was at TV getting dressed as Papa Shango, they decided to put me in the Nation of Domination.
right,
And so when I showed up that night, whatever that was for the Nation, as part of the Nation, I was
yeah,
supposed to be Papa Shango that night.
all right. And what was the potential storylines during this time? Because I would imagine this was about '97. I might be right.
Never had it, bro. Never.
No,
I never got it. I never got it. I actually. So I don't know. That's probably why I never got it.
Yep. And I suppose going back to '95, so you became Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, and you started the feud with Undertaker, who's one of your very best friends. So, what was it like working with Taker and being able to be around him a lot more often during these
I
days?
always like working with that dude. I've worked with him as 5, 6 different characters.
Yeah.
I always love working with him. Pleasure. We started off together and stuff, and to this day we are still pretty good friends. So, I love working with him. I worked with him as Soul Taker, as Papa Shango, as Goodfather, as Godfather, as Kama Mustafa. I've worked with him a lot of different times. I've been in so many different caskets. It's not funny. As different people.
And obviously, famously, the two of you are part of the BSK, so you got to
Yeah.
have some fun stories, especially about Yoko. I don't really hear too many stories about Yoko, but any fun Yoko BSK stories?
Uh, you know, now we just good friends, man, and we just hung out, played a lot of dominoes. Me, Yoko, and Taker hung out in a lot of strip clubs.
Yeah.
Not all the BSK was strip club people. They would,
No.
me, Taker, and Yoko were in strip clubs every night.
Oh well.
So most of our stories involve drinking and partying and women. So those stories are hard to tell.
Oh well, we're not a PG show, so if you feel like you want to
Yeah,
take
but
one, tell me.
I don't mind telling on myself, but I don't tell on others.
Cool. And so speaking about fun times, so during this time, you were sharing a locker room with the late great Owen Hart, and obviously famous for his ribs. Did you happen to fall victim of one of his ribs?
If I did, I didn't know I did. As far as I know, Owen never ribbed me. He wasn't. People have him all kind of played off as like all he did was rib. He didn't rib all the time. Just that the ribs he did were good ones.
Yeah.
But people have it like every day Owen's ribbing people, and it wasn't like that. He just when he did ribs, they were famous ribs.
Yep. And obviously, I mean, I was going to say, so obviously there's his partner in crime, the late British Bulldog. So I would imagine you've had some fun stories with Bulldog.
Um, didn't hang out with Davy Boy. He was a
No?
different. Knew I was cool with him. I had no problems with him, but I never hung out with him. He wasn't
Mm.
like I said. There was everybody. It was different crowds that did different things, and if you didn't do the strip club like me and Taker and us, we did, we didn't really see each other at nighttime. We only see each other either in the gym or in the building, you know. So that's where I would see him most of the time, gym or the building. He wasn't hanging out in strip clubs.
And well, I mean, you talk about strip clubs and drinking, and Taker's choice is a bottle of Jack Daniels. So, what was your choice of drink going out?
I to this day I still drink Jack Daniels. I'm looking at 3
Nice.
bottles over there right now. I like Gentleman Jack. I don't like this. Yeah, Jack's number 7's all right, but I'm more of Gentleman Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember why the drink, but yeah, one night I had my brother-in-law. He was my future brother-in-law at the point, so him and my little sister was getting married, and he's never drank Jack Daniels before, and I'm like, really? And he was like, yeah. And he used to think he was a big drinking person because he drinks like mead and beer. I'm like, oh, let's get on the Jack. Oh, he couldn't wake up the next day. He was gone for like 2 days.
I was laughing with Taker a couple of days ago about how much Jack Daniels we've drinking over the years.
Yeah. And is it? I think I had a story that Taker took X-Pac out for a drink, and I forgot the name of the band they went to have a drink with, but Taker like outlasted all of them. I forgot the name of the band, but it was someone. But it was,
Still,
it's like it was, yeah,
you know, well, you know, in Cypress Hill's defense,
yeah,
wrestlers were the biggest drug addicts in the world back then. Okay, and Cypress Hill was more of stoners, so you know, and Taker could drink a lot of Jack Daniels, so you know. But Taker didn't smoke no weed. I bet you if Taker was smoking weed, it would have been a different thing. But I mean, yeah, me and Taker have put a lot of people, we've outlasted a lot of people.
awesome. And so during this time, you mentioned joining the Nation of Domination. So how did it feel being paired up with Farouk, D'Lo, and obviously a young Rock at this point? It must have been great for the 4 years because such a legendary stable and similar to your Papa Shango gimmick, where I say that a lot of wrestling fans has fond memories. A lot of wrestling fans has great memories of the Nation. So how does it feel being part of this group?
Honor, man, honor. Talk to you. I don't talk to The Rock much, but I talk to D'Lo, Ron, Mark Henry. We all see each other. Well, I don't see each other that often, but we talk to each other a lot. I talk to Ron all the time. I
Yeah,
talk to Ron once or twice a week. But it was great, man. It was great being part of that stable. It's I think sooner or later they're going to put them in the Hall of Fame. I
they're
think
great.
that they should be in the Hall of Fame one day. And it was just great, man, to be part of, you know, Mark Henry's career, D'Lo's, Ron's, mine, you know, be part of the Rocks. I mean, it just, I never knew that at the time that it was going to be as historic as it ended up being, but we were having fun, man, and it was an honor to be part of it.
Awesome. And during the end of '97, the Montreal Screw Job happened. So where was you during this point, and like, what was the
Uh,
reaction from yourself in your
there,
head?
I'd already left the building. I had a match earlier.
Right.
I wasn't there for any of that.
Yeah. And what was your thoughts when it happened? Was you shocked, or was it business was business?
Dude, wrestling's a, wrestling can be a cutthroat business, brother. Wrestling can be a cutthroat business both ways. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it is. But wrestling, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but you know, back in the day, it could be a little cutthroat.
Awesome. And the gimmick came up.
What's that?
Sorry. No, I'm sorry. So they always say the greatest wrestlers, extension of their own personalities, and you became Godfather on screen, not just behind the scenes, but on screen. So who like pitched the idea? Was it like yourself thinking, right, I don't want to be Carmen Mustafa now, I want to be the actual Godfather? So how did that come about, that process, and with the hose and the
They
theme
were
song and everything?
at the time they weren't really doing nothing with me. And Mark Henry and D'Lo were kind of pairing off together. The Rock was kind of going on his own, and I was kind of getting lost in the shuffle. So me and my wife got together and we created this Godfather character. And me and John Bradshaw we kind of start playing with it in the house shows, and it was getting over in the house shows with that not any girls whatsoever. Um, and Vince, I mean, but the way we were doing it, it was really getting over big time. And so Vince heard about it. So when we got the TV, Vince has asked, "Hey, you think you could put some girls to it?" And we went and got some girls and put them on TV, and it took off, man. It got over overnight. And then we
It
just
really
started
did.
playing with it, man.
Yeah. And speaking of hoes, we have to talk about Sunny. um,
What's
how
that?
bad was she? I said, speaking of hoes, we have to talk about Sunny. Um, I
Uh,
spoke to Just
I got nothing
Incredible.
good. I got nothing good to say about her, so I don't know what you want to talk about. What you talked to? What?
Spoke to Just Incredible, and like he was good friends with Aldo Montoya. He was good friends with Skip Chris Candido. And I point blank said to him, I said, "Did Chris know?" He said, "Chris knew." He said, "But he just wouldn't accept it." He said, and he said, "I would feel so sorry for him." He said, "But he said he just wouldn't get rid of her."
She's probably the biggest hoe the WWE ever seen.
Well,
That's about the nicest thing I could say about her. She's probably in jail right now. I
I think
bet you
she
as we
is.
talk, she's in jail right now.
Yeah. And so what I do want to talk about, and he doesn't really get mentioned much, Todd Pettingell. Did you have any fun times with Todd Pettingell? I'm actually
No,
interviewing him this Tuesday.
no. He came in at the end of my. No, I really didn't have many dealings with him. Why
Yeah.
would you bring that up?
Oh no, I'm interviewing him, and he was always round during that new generation, and like I suppose the
Yeah,
very start of the
Jerry.
Attitude Era.
That was more Jerry Lawler and Jr. You know, they were the ones mostly doing that with me, especially Jr.
Yeah,
I I mean, especially I just laughed thinking about it now. But Jerry Lawler was the best at it.
yeah,
Pitgell, he wasn't really part of that. He was doing more, other stuff.
yeah,
I
and
really was unscripted, man. I was really just out there doing my thing. They gave me a lot of freedom to do what I wanted, so I was literally out there just doing my thing.
we mentioned how much the Godfather took off and that, and you defeated Goldust to become the Intercontinental Champion. So, how did it feel for yourself to become IC champ?
Oh, that was cool. I mean, it was cool to get a belt. Uh, After I got the belt, they realized the belt didn't mean anything on me because I had the girls, and
Yeah,
all the belt meant was something the girls would carry. The girls and me, that was the show, not the belt. So, unfortunately, they were going to drop it to Owen that night. That happened to him.
yeah,
But then I don't know how they dropped it to somebody. I think Jeff Jarrett or somebody. I don't
I
remember
think it
who.
was. Yeah,
But it didn't mean anything on me because my show was I had my own little thing, which was almost kind of apart from everything else. I just kind of had the little Godfather segments that kind of we had some fun.
so how disappointed was you when they took all that away for you to become right to censor?
Vince didn't want to take it away. If Vince could have, man, he'd had me out there with them girls forever. I
Yeah,
just times were changing, man. Back then, times were already starting to change. He went public. We're no longer on cable. We're on network now, and people are taking a closer look at what we're doing. And from the puppies and the suckets to Val Venus. Val
yeah,
Venus, me, I think. But I was calling girls hoes and talking about smoking weed, and so I was a handful. Vince Vince would tell me at TV, Charles, I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for you. But it got to the point where I couldn't be on Saturdays or Sunday mornings. I couldn't be on before 10 o'clock at night. I couldn't say this. I couldn't say this. The girls had to be covered. It got really stupid after a while. But
yeah,
I wasn't happy at all. I wasn't. I was at that point. I was done. I was ready
yeah.
to go.
He gets he gets a bad rep, Vince McMahon. Me personally, I'm thankful for all the years of entertainment he's given us. What's your experience as Vince McMahon? Because it sounds like you got along with him.
That whole family has been really cool with me. excuse me, to this day, I'm still under a Legends contract. I have been since 2003. I might be one of the people that have been on it the longest. Uh, they're super cool with me. I have nothing but respect for that family. Uh, what can I say?
Yep.
I have
And
nothing bad to say about them. I mean, like they've been really fair to this day. I mean, they just came out with a new action figure, a comic action figure. They keep money coming to me. How about that?
yeah. Yeah, when I spoke to your good friend Rob Van Dam, he said, he said, I love Fancy. He's always been good to me. He said, he's like, and then when he says something, I agree with it. I don't know why he gets so much hate.
He's good at what he does. But um, you know, uh, he's always been cool with me. He's uh,
Yeah.
he's he's let me do a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have let me do. How about that?
Also, and I suppose the beginning of 2001, you was ending the Right to Censor gimmick, but WWE bought out WCW. So, what was the feel of the locker room when that happened?
We were hoping that those guys that killed WCW were going to come over and kill WWF. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah. Yeah, there was quite a big influx of talent what came in, and spaces, I suppose, was limited for the show. So, was
You
there
know,
like,
none of that affected me because by that point I was the Godfather,
yeah,
and I had, like I said, I had my own little segment that was actually called the Godfather segment. You
yeah,
know, and it had nothing to do with any of that nonsense.
and I mean, you had a legendary career, and after that, you made some sporadic appearances over the years, and then 2016, you got inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, how did it feel for yourself to be recognized for all these years of work you put in?
Dude, honor, but like I said, if you look at my body of work, Robbie, like we're talking about Papa Shango, you know how many years ago that was? And we're talking about the
Yeah,
nation domination. Or you're talking about the Godfather. Or you're talking about things that were so long ago that they were memorable. And
yeah,
so, I love it, when people bring up the Ultimate Warrior and making him throw up and all that stuff. I
yeah.
mean, that was how many years ago was that? You
A
know,
while.
I mean, that's what, 90, 91?
Yeah,
And
nearly yeah, 30
so
years ago. Wow.
we recognize that, I might not have been the best technical wrestler, but I took a few characters and got them over.
You sure did. And I'm speaking of characters. So, about a year ago now, Undertaker, it seems like he retired and they had that big service after Survivor Series. So, how did it feel seeing I saw the messages on Instagram from our mutual friend, Henry Godwin. He posted the clips of using the bad BSK. So, how did it feel for the gang to get back together?
Great, great. Some of those guys I hadn't seen in a while. Great. Uh, we had a good night that night. Drank a lot of Jack Daniels. We had to put Mr. Godwin to bed. We had to take the room with me. But it was a good night. Like always, me and Taker made sure everybody got to their rooms and that's how we've always done it. Yoko too, when he was alive.
Yeah. Awesome. So before we go, so we got 5 minutes left. So I went to the internet and we got some fan questions. So are you ready?
Sure.
Go. So first question from at Good Bad Wrestle. Did you see Bobby Lashley coming out on Raw recently, surrounded by ladies, and how did you feel about that?
I didn't see it. I don't watch the show. Now that they're opening and they're doing live audiences again, I might start watching again. It's just
Yeah.
I can't watch wrestling without people. That's too
Oh,
weird.
it's ter-
Uh,
it's
so I seen a lot of stuff on Instagram about it, and I replied a couple of times. Pimping ain't easy, man. Just know pimping ain't easy. He didn't have
oh,
the best looking hose either. They weren't the best looking hose.
no, I'll be honest. I mean, you brought a better quality of
Well,
home, we could say.
I brought the fire. Not all the time, but I tried to bring the fire.
Awesome. Yep. And at for Demo God 1, Do you wish you was actually a new third member of the APA instead of being part of Right to Censor?
Oh, I would have loved to have been part of APA. I'm not happy about being. That's the only time in wrestling that I hated it was being Right to Censor. I did my job the best I could, but I didn't like it. I wasn't having a good time being Right to Censor. I would have loved to be. I might as well be because all I did was hang out with those two fools every night. See, I came to a point where me and Taker couldn't hang out in strip clubs anymore. That was a long time, but because of social media and stuff, all that, we had to stop doing all that. So then I started hanging around with Ron and John. So I could have been a good one.
They had the greatest gimmick in the world on screen, just smoking beers and cigars.
I was living my gimmick and they were living theirs.
You actually, I think it was you what mentioned it on the Hall of Fame fight. You've got a hilarious Ron Simmons story. Are you willing to share it?
Which one? What?
I don't know if it was you or Ron mentioned at the Hall of Fame fight. One of you had a great story on the other, but you couldn't tell it on the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I don't know, bro.
Was it an airport?
There's a lot of stories like most of the stories involving me are like that. Probably all the stories involving me are like that.
I don't know if it was one involving like an airport and a dog, a security dog or something like that.
Yeah, they were. I had some cannabis on me, and they knew I had it on me. Normally, I didn't travel with it. I don't know why I had it on me, but I did. And I don't know why. Usually, I didn't carry it with me, so I was all nervous probably anyway, right? And so all of a sudden, I see Ron and John, and they've got they're talking to a cop with a German Shepherd, a drug dog. And they're calling me over. They're like, Godfather, Godfather. And I'm like, oh, no, they had it on me in my bag. I'm like, oh, no. And they called me over there. And so long story short, when I get over there, they're like, hey, this is Officer, this is his dog. And they go, his dog's a bomb sniffing dog. So I don't know if people know this, but dogs usually only sniff for one thing, either bombs or marijuana or cocaine, whatever they're looking for. They only look for one thing. So yeah, that's the story. The bastards. They thought that was funny.
Awesome. And another quick question. Who is the most picky about ring rats and who would welcome any rat?
Who is the most picky? How can you be picky with the ring rat? They're ring rats. I ain't telling on nobody. I had a lot of them come through the building.
Yeah.
I guess.
And last question from Eric Smith: Did the host hook up with any of the boys backstage?
Come on now. Really?
I have to ask the questions I'm given.
Okay, let me answer it this way: most of the hoes are wrestling fans, and they're hanging out with wrestlers now that they're fans of. I mean, put two and two. Come on, man. Really? Really?
Well, Godfather, absolute pleasure having you on the show. Means a lot, and thank you for giving me your time. I know you're a very busy man, so before you do go, tell everyone where they can find you on social media, and if you've got anything to promote away.
Unless you're in California, I've got my own cannabis line now with Insane OG. But unless you're in California, that don't do you no good. Basically, follow me on Instagram. I'm the Godfather on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel that I'm going to get going here really soon. It's up. It's called Smoke Train. I am going to put the in my bio. I'll put the link, but I'm going to get on that pretty soon. But mostly Instagram. You can really check out what I'm doing on there.
Awesome. Well, like I said, absolute pleasure having you on the show. And yeah, one day, if you want, we'll have a BSK reunion on that 90s Wrestling podcast.
Yeah. Let's go drink some Jack.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks for listening to this interview. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And as for announcement for next week's interview, so we're going back to Impact Wrestling because welcome to the show, current Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champion, Adina. I had a great chat to Cody Deaner. Spoke about him being part of Violent by Design along with Eric Young, Joe Doring and Rhino, winning the tag team titles and using not the Freebird rule but the VBD rule. Him joining wrestling in the early days from Canada, turning heel on Cousin Jake, cutting off his infamous mullet, And yeah, just really fun chapters, Dean, and really great guy. So hopefully you'll come back next week to check it out. And if you have, then please hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to this on podcasting form, hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating, leave us a nice comment. It always helps the channel out. Same if you're on YouTube. Like, comment, and give us a subscribe. Make sure you tap that bell icon so you get notified for the videos. And like I said, it really does help the channel out. So if you could do that, it would really mean a lot to me. So everyone, until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.